Hello and welcome to this video on tournament play for Poker Aftermath. My name is Matt Davis. I'm the writer of the program, and I just wanted to use this video to show you some of the features that are available for tournament play. But first I would like to start out by just thanking you for downloading the program and giving it a try. If you haven't downloaded the program yet, then make sure you check out the information below the video, and it should have a link to the downloads page. And feel free to share the program with friends. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to hear future videos when they come out. And if you have any feedback on the way the program works or about the videos, you can email me at pokeraftermath@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get started showing how the tournaments work. I just want to point out, just from some previous play, I have some players sitting out, so apparently I was practicing, it looks like, 7-handed play. When you don't have to worry about that when you start a tournament. It's always going to set up play with the number of players that are supposed to be involved in that tournament. So tournaments are in this options menu up here in the upper left. So you go down to tournament mode, and then you select the type of tournament that you want. So this Bovada Turbo is a 9-handed sit and go. It moves pretty fast, so it'll probably end within around 60 hands or so. Maybe a little more, a little less, but it shouldn't take a lot of time, so you can play one of those in about 15 minutes maybe. The World Series of Poker Colossus tournament, on the other hand, typically has 20,000 something players in it, and if you're going to do well, that could last for a really long time. It might go hundreds for sure, maybe even thousands of hands before you reach the end. And World Series of Poker 1K is similar to that. But not quite as many players, so that'll typically have around 3,000 players. Colossus also has kind of a faster blind structure than most World Series of Poker tournaments, so they start off with what would normally be in real time a half-hour levels, and then after 18 levels, which is really deep into the tournament, they switch to hour-long levels. For you, those levels won't take that long because I base them on the number of hands played, and you'll often go through the hands quicker than you would if it was real life. World Series of Poker 1500 actually has 3 different types of $1,500 tournaments. You have the standard one, the Monster Stack, and then the Millionaire Maker. And so once you click that, you'd be asked to choose which of those 3 you want to do. We have the World Series of Poker Main Event, 2-hour levels in that one, and typically a field around 6,000 or so. The World Series of Poker has daily tournaments. There's 3 different stack sizes for those, but they have those every day, so you can simulate those. They're half-hour levels, and the blinds advance a little faster through the levels than they would in a typical World Series of Poker tournament. So this is a multiplayer tournament, but it will move faster than any of these other ones. And then this might be a typical home game tournament with 24 players. This is modeled after the one I play at, which is For Saturday Poker. But it has 24 players in it. And I would also just mention the play is a little bit looser here than it is up there to reflect the difference between World Series of Poker versus maybe just recreational play. So you can choose any of those. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Bovada Turbo. So that's a single table tournament with 9 players, and so the blind structure will get set up for us. The mounting starting chips will get set up, and the fact that it's 9 players will get set up so they sit one out, and then we can start playing. And I'm just going to fold every hand here, even if it's aces, just to kind of show you what's going on. So I play one hand, and then I'm going to click skip instead of watching the whole flop play out. That is something I recommend doing to make your tournaments go a little bit faster. So I'm going to just keep folding. And there was just a winner there, so we don't need to do skip, and just deal again. So fold these through, and this is meant to simulate, I think, a 10-minute level, 5-minute level on online play. And so the blinds go up every 6 hands. You do get through hands a little faster online than you would in live play. So when I say that the level is 5 minutes, that's just what we're trying to simulate, but we're going to get through that much faster than 5 minutes because we're just folding and skipping when we're not involved. So this is the 6th hand right here. So when I go through that and go to the next hand, you'll notice the blinds went up and we're now at level 2. So that is something that you just need to be aware of. The blinds going up isn't based on clock time, but the number of hands. So I'm going to go ahead and fold out of this one too, and then skip. As players run out of chips, they'll be eliminated. This will play down until either you get knocked out or until you win. And it'll just keep removing players automatically as they run out of chips. So if you want to exit one of these before it's actually over, then you can go to Options and Tournament Exit. And then when you click Deal, it'll say that you decided to exit and it's returning you back to a cash game, and it'll set it up to the default 1-3 cash game. Alright, so let me end that hand and go back into a tournament. So this time I'm going to choose one of the ones that has a few options to it. So if I choose World Series of Poker $1,500, then immediately it does this pop-up and gives you 3 choices. If you click yes, it'll be the standard $1,500 tournament that has 7,500 in chips. If you do no, it'll be the Monster Stack, which has double that in chips. And if you click cancel, it'll be the Millionaire, which also has 7,500 in chips. The only reason I differentiated the Millionaire Maker event from the standard is the Millionaire Maker gets a lot more players. So if you choose that one, you'll get this $1,500 tournament with a field of around 6,000 or so, whereas here it might be more like a couple thousand. So that's the option there, and then you just pick whichever one you want to do. So if I click no, all the players should have 15,000 in chips, and so we see that that's what's happening there. And then the levels on this are 1 hour, and I do that with 29 hands. So every 29 hands the blinds will go up. So let me go ahead and just show you some other features on here. So of the basic play, we have fold, call, and raise. This is a pretty bad hand for early position, but I'll go ahead and call anyways, just so you start to see how this plays out. I'll mention the white boxes real quick here. If we are doing a multi-table tournament, then if a player is new to the table, their box will be white, and that'll last for 3 hands. So that way, if a player gets knocked out and replaced by a new one, it hopefully catches your attention that this is a new player with a new style. So I'm going to go ahead and click deal and see a flop here. I actually played a bad hand and got sort of lucky. I at least have a draw. It's only a gut shot, but still a draw. And you notice there's a little bit of processing and it takes a little bit of time for the players to act. So that is why I will use the skip button a lot when I'm not in a hand. But if I'm in it, I might as well go ahead and see it through. I was thinking about bluffing there since everybody checked, but now that the queen's there, maybe it won't work. Alright, I'll try it anyways. So when you go to bet, if you click bet, it'll be a standard half pot. Whatever it says down here would be your bet. But if you'd rather make the bet a different size, you can type in a different value and then click bet. So instead of the 100, it'll be the 175. Hopefully everybody will fold. Yay, our bluff worked. Right, and then if we're curious what people had, 7-8, 9-6, they had a heart draw, and 3-4. That person folded a pair, so we were legitimately bluffing there, got somebody off of a better hand than we had. So when you mouse over their player number, you can see those cards. So that's kind of handy. Alright, and then go ahead and click deal again and fold again. So when I'm folding out and other players call, you can click deal and watch the hand play out, but because of the time that takes, often skip is a better option. If you do click skip, there will be no more betting, so the pot will stay at 450. Nobody's going to make any more bets, and then it'll deal it out, and whoever ends up with the best hand gets the 450, in this case the ace-10. Alright, deal another hand, fold another hand, and this is our third hand. So when this one is done, go ahead and skip, and we deal again. Notice now everybody's box is turned to black because now they're all players that have been at the table for a few hands. And fold, check, or raise, right? So I'll go ahead and just fold and skip, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you another feature. Actually, right now this says to load a tournament. Let me go a few more hands so I can show you what save looks like. A tournament like this, if you were to go on and play it until you won, it would probably take several hours, maybe even a few days for you to finish, even on the computer. So one of the features I have in here is after you get in at least 6 hands into the tournament, from then on at the end of a hand it'll show this save option. So if you click save, it'll just say tournament progress saved, and it's going to allow you to come back to this point if you want to leave and turn off the computer and play again later. If I fold and get out of here, you'll get that option again. Notice this time when I say it, it says, do you want to save this tournament? Previous save versions will be overwritten. So it's noticing that we've already saved a 1500K tournament and you can only have one of them saved. So if you say yes, you lose that last spot and it saves the new one. Alright, let me go ahead and show you some other things here. One of the things you can do is change your stack size by typing in a number and clicking on your stack size. So I'm going to give myself only 3 big blinds here, which is sad. And then I'm going to raise to 150 and see what happens. Alright, I won. So I'm going to give myself back that stack size of 150. Actually, I think I did that at the wrong time. Anyways, we got a raise here. I'm going to re-raise with my queen 10. I'm hoping to bust out. That's kind of strange for me, but that's what I'm hoping for. And I got my wish. So this player knocked me out with their trip aces to my 2 queens. So when that happens, if you click deal, it'll tell you where you finished. And then when you click OK, it'll send you back to cash game. So let me go ahead and show you now how you go back in. You do have to play the 1 cash game hand. You can just fold it and skip it. But then if you go back to options, tournament mode, and we are in a 1500, and I think it doesn't actually matter which one of these you pick, but I'll pick the same thing again. Then one of the options it has is load. And so if you do that, it's going to warn you that the progress of this one that you have right here will be lost, but you can load the one we saved a while ago. It'll show you kind of where you were, that you were at level 1 and big blind is at 50, and tells you how many players started and how many are left, but we did so little, it's basically everybody. And then you will notice that, well, we didn't make a note of it, but notice the chip stacks aren't 1500 because we did play a few hands, so some of the chips had shifted around. So that's what the load looks like. And the players are actually marked with black right away because we had played a few hands with these folks. And we're back in business. So if you're going to play one of these longer tournaments, I think that it is important to save it every once in a while, or at least know how, so that if you don't want to do the whole thing, you can get out. Alright, I think that's enough for that, so I'll go ahead and exit this tournament. Do a quick deal, back to cash game, and fold this out, and we'll be at a kind of a fresh starting point after we skip. Alright, so I think that's basically it for showing you what you need to know to get started on tournaments. We'll just go ahead and point out that the other option where you end up have to make a choice is the deep stack. So they have these different amount buy-ins that you can do at the World Series of Poker on these daily tournaments. That does affect 2 things. It affects how many chips you start with. It also affects how many players there are. It turns out that there's more players in this $235 tournament than any of the others, which is kind of interesting. The more expensive one gets the most players. So a lot of times around 1,000 players in this one. This $185 tournament often will get around 300 to 500 players, and their cheapest tournament, the $135, can get anywhere from like a couple hundred to 400 players in it. So in addition to the amount of chips you start with, the choice you make here affects how many players there are as well. They all have the same blind structure though. So just yes, no, or cancel, basically like it says here. If we wanted to do the big one for 1,000 in chips, we'd do the yes, and it would start us off that way. Alright, I think that's basically it. So thanks again for your interest in the program, for checking out this video, and again, feel free to share, subscribe, give me feedback, and enjoy the program. Thanks.